Hi, everyone. Really quick question. Raise your hand if you really, really, really care about the environment. Super easy. Come on. Okay, perfect. So let me tell you why I don't believe you 100%, but it's not really our fault. There's something else in the middle. I'm Alessandro Armillotta. I'm CEO at AWorld. I wasn't born an environmentalist, but I became. What I've learned during my years working in this industry was, I had some activists that said this phrase, there are no passengers on spaceship Earth, we're all crew. So if we see this planet as a spaceship, we cannot just sit and enjoy the ride, we need to be active members of crew. That made me think. I grew up in the fashion industry, I'm Italian, from a small country. From a small village, ended up in New York working for some very big fashion conglomerates. I had the pleasure to work with Tommy Hilfiger. I've been the president of a company that sells luxury products in the States. We've got acquired by an Asian conglomerate that asked me to move to Shanghai. The Asian conglomerate said, Alex, I want you to come and learn how we use gamification to sell more products. I said, okay, challenge accepted. I'm an entrepreneur. I'll come over and I'll try to understand how it works. I moved to Shanghai, spent a year over there. After a few months, I've asked the company to show me how do we make the products that we sell. And the products were $5 t-shirts and $2 leggings that we were selling for young women in the United States. I've asked to go and see one of the factories, and I go to this very industrial area in Guangzhou. Imagine factories over factories. I work in, the situation is pretty terrible. People poorly managed, environmental disaster. But what was more important at the time was I need to do some corporate espionage. I need to understand what is my competitor working on. I'm there to drive business. And I need to know what is the next color in season. So this lady that was walking me through the factory is like, come on, you can tell me. You can tell me what's the next color in season. She says, I'm not allowed to tell you, but if you want, you can go and look at the color of the river, and that will tell you the next color in season. That was the time I realized myself that everything that we do has an impact, good or bad impact. We make thousands of choices on a daily basis. We buy products, we buy services, and everything has an impact. I was wearing a $5 t-shirt on the other side of the world that I bought in Italy that was shipped all the way, thousands of miles away. That was my aha moment. That was the moment that I realized, okay, I need to step out of this. I need to try to understand, why did we get here? Clicker. No clicker. Clicker. No clicker. Okay. What I realized, and what I went into a rabbit hole, and I actually understood something very important. We live in a world where a tree is worth more financially dead than alive. Imagine animals, for example. Like an elephant tusk. Isn't that more worth than the animals' well-being? So as long as we will continue doing this, we're just going to leave this place a worse place for future generations. That phrase, those words really stuck with me, and also the clicker. I went even deeper and I said, okay, why are we incentivizing sustainable behaviors? No, actually our economy doesn't really incentivize sustainable behaviors. We live in a world where we think resources are infinite while are finite. And we're building an economy built on profit at all costs. Have you ever heard about the very famous light bulb in California? There's a fire station that has a light bulb switched on for 120 years, never switched off. 120 years, this is super famous. It's been on for millions and millions of years, and we can say that actually Edison was the first one that created the light bulb. These light bulbs lasted thousands and thousands of years, and what did we realize? That we weren't selling enough. They were lasting too long. So what we did, we shortened the lifespan of the light bulb to sell more and more. That's just how we are wired. So we're digging stuff up, burning it, throwing it back into the ground, and creating all kind of unbalanced inequalities. And apparently we don't still understand how to live and balance with this planet. Clicker. What we're very good at, though, as humans, is tracking a few KPIs. We're very good at tracking GDP growth. We're very good at tracking EBITDA. And we think that our success is just economical success. But in fact, our success should be the success of the planet itself and the planet's well-being. And, um, and we're just wired like that. So we think that the economical model that we built is you lose, I gain. We favor competition against collaboration, and we're just thinking of world domination as individuals instead of just working together. And we say we're concerned about things, but we just have a little window to change things. Science is telling us that we can do it, but the window is getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and it's giving us a small opportunity to act. Do we all know this? Pretty simple, climate stripes. Last year was the warmest year in history. We had to add a new Pantone, a new red for this. Have you seen these? These are the biostripes. Not everyone knows these. We've lost 69% of our biodiversity from 1970 till today. So we think of ourselves as change makers, but we're not going to succeed if we don't think of one whole nation altogether. So I'm still there, coming back from China, and I'm asking myself, what is the problem? Is it my government? Is it the mayor of my city? Is it the business owner? Nope. Is it just us? Isn't us as individuals? Really? Are we demanding a change from someone else where we're not the first ones to change? So we take thousands of decisions on a daily basis. We buy products, we buy services. We're 8 billion, and we're soon going to be 10 billion in the next few years. So I've went even further and tried to understand at the behavioral change part, why are not we changing? And also the slides are not changing so easily. So let me see if it works. Okay. Actually, people want to take action. 77% of people want to take action. We don't know where to start. It's not so easy. We feel the need in taking action. There's something internally that's telling us, do it. Sustainability is complicated. We have 18 years old Greta Thunberg talking about gigatons of greenhouse gases. Just walk out there and tell that to someone. And more specifically, we fail to see the impact of our actions. Do I take a bus to come here? Do I take a car? What is the difference between that? Between taking a vegetarian meal or not? Nothing is really telling us. It's just difficult to understand. And we also have a loss in agency. So in the last 3 years, agencies decreased from 70 to 68%. So we're starting to think that we're not able to change things as individuals, and we cannot allow that. Clicker, 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 no clicker. Okay. Remember when I told you, do you really care? And I said, I don't really believe you. This is what's stopping us. This is our biggest piece, is the intention-behavior gap. This means I know what's the right thing to do, I know what's the right choice, but there's something stopping me. So the phenomenon is known as the discrepancy between what we say we want and what we actually do. Why? Changing our behavior is extremely, extremely difficult. I need time to prepare, it's more costly. If you think about this, the first time you go to school and you choose your little desk, don't you try to go back to the same desk every time? Or every time you go to the gym, you try to use the same locker? It's just as we're just wired like that. Changing behavior takes a cognitive effort, takes preparation, sometimes it's more expensive, and it's just extremely, extremely difficult. There are two other phenomenons on the next two slides, which is the diffusion of responsibility, the bystander effect. This means you always think there is someone else taking care of it. So the diffusion of responsibility, the government is doing it for me, the mayor of the town is doing it for me. And then secondly, the fear of looking stupid and inappropriate. I live in a small village in Italy. I need to I'll do groceries, I get my big reusable bag, and I have to go in front of all my friends at the bar having drinks. And sometimes I feel a little silly with my big bag instead of just getting a plastic bag. That's also something that is stopping us out there. So how do we change ourselves? Sorry, this is a little cliche to mention Einstein, but Einstein said no problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it. So if you want to solve problems like global health, climate change, we need to elevate our level of consciousness. Just gets right to the point, not like the clicker. Clicker doesn't like to get to the point. Okay, so a few slides to wrap it up. Everything starts from the mind. Every action starts with a feeling and a thought. The thought or feeling always precedes the action. We cannot change the law of nature, and if you want to change the world, we must focus inner. So the inner work is what we need to focus on. We need to fall in love with these topics. We need to remind ourselves that we're living in a climate crisis. We need to start to lead by example, and we need to change. We need to be the change that we wish to see. And we should change the clicker too. From that time, this is 2019. I left that fashion company and said, okay, let's try to build something that can actually guide people into living sustainably. Luckily, we've met the UN, learned about the Sustainable Development Goals, put all of the gamification that I've learned into one digital platform that aims to empower people to live sustainably. What does live sustainably really means? Is it just really about the carbon footprint? Not really. It's about being educated, is about taking action, is about also reducing our carbon footprint. Luckily, from that day, we've met the UN. UN asked us to promote the Act Now campaign. The UN has a campaign called Act Now, the campaign for individual action on climate change and sustainability, and they needed a technical partner to promote this through a digital platform. So we're using that gamification to support the Act Now campaign. We've now worked with the European Commission, and Google created a list of the best apps in the world during 2023. And alongside with ChatGPT, with Monopoly, you have the AWorld app listed as a trusted partner from Google. What do? We support companies within the transition. We've understood that we can help actually companies engaging their stakeholders. This is something that we all need to do right now. So there is retailers, there is banks, there is companies that need to engage their consumers, there is cities that need to engage citizens. There is fans. We're going to work with Lega Calcio Serie A, which is like the Premier League here in Italy, to engage the fans, because the fans need to understand what living sustainably really means. 3 pillars that we base everything upon. Carbon footprint. Does anyone know their exact carbon footprint? Okay, good. So carbon footprint is extremely important. If you can measure it, you can improve it or decrease it. Education. We need to be aware, you need to understand why this is important, and then you need to take action to reduce your carbon footprint. What's there? What's the last word? The reward. Are we going to take action by ourselves if someone's just going to tell us to do? No, we need to be incentivized if we want to change our behavior. So we need to promote gamification if you want to change behavior. You need to put challenges. People want to compete. People want to be measured against others. People want to win rewards. It doesn't really work if you're just telling someone to change behavior, because as we just said earlier, we're just wired in a very, very complex way. Lastly, we have to make it easy for people. So we know that if I ask you to tell me what actions are you taking on a daily basis is not enough. So if you download the AWorld app today, you can enable the mobility assistant. The app will basically tell you, you're using your car, you're using a plane, you're walking, these are your CO2 emissions, and these are your CO2 savings. So telling you, good job, you walked, you use a public transportation, you use a subway, these are your savings, and that's your emissions, all automatically, because we know that we're lazy, and if we want to change behavior, it needs to be easy to get your head around, and it has to be served to you on your mobile phone. Clicker is driving me a little crazy. I'm gonna skip to the last few slides. I know we're out of time, but we've launched a challenge here with Innovation Zero on April 2nd that went extremely well. I'm gonna ask you to take out your phones to just scan a quick QR code, because we have some rewards listed there too. This doesn't work, by the way. So it's super difficult to adopt. But Innovation Zero adopted the AWorld app to drive a challenge within the participants. The goal was to drive 200,000 actions from April 2nd to May 2nd. We actually exceeded the goal already, now pointing to 240,000 actions up, saving 1.8 tons of CO2, 20 million liters of water, and 78 kilowatt hours. This is If you can scan this, it will take you to the challenge. There are some rewards there. We're going to plant trees if we continue further. But this is what I wanted to bring you with my journey. Remember when I started saying about the spaceship, my last question is, are you passenger or are you crew? I'll leave it up to you. Thank you.